Oke, standby, kamera ready, sound ready, 3, 2, 1, action!
Hello everyone! Hi, my name is Sala Juniastia Marsha Putri with name 0903 12 82 32 80 74 from Information System Regular 4A class. Welcome to this video where I will guide you through a Linux system administration task for our operating system course. In this video, we will go step by step through directory management, file manipulation, permissions, symbolic links, and user mask setting. Each of these topics is essential of understanding how a Linux system handles files and user access. Not only will explain each command, but I will also demonstrate its execution and analyze the output so that you can understand the effect in real time. Whether you're new to Linux or looking to improve your system administration skill, this video will help you get comfortable with the file and directory management. So grab your terminal and let's get started! First of all, we have to know what a directory is. In Linux, a directory is a special type of file that stores other files in subdirectories. In other words, a directory is just another name for folders used to help organize files.
In this task, we are required to create a main directory under Home Mahasiswa using our student ID and name as the folder name. To do this, we use the mkdir command. Adding the "-p" option ensures that the directories are created even if some of the parent directories do not exist. Inside this main directory, we also create 3 subdirectories: document, code, and arsip. These directories will help keep different types of files organized. But how do we know our directory structure has been successfully created? To verify that, we use the tree command, which visually represents directories and files in a tree-like structure. Alternatively, we can use ls-r, which lists all files and subdirectories in a recursive manner.
The second is manipulating files. As we know, a file can store text, image, tables, code, and so on.
Once we have our directory set up, we proceed with file manipulation. Before we start creating files, it's important to ensure that we have the correct permission to modify them. This is done using the chown command, which changes the ownership of the directory. Now that we have ownership, we can create a file named identitas.txt inside the document folder. This file will contain personal details such as a name, student ID, and study program. The echo command is used to insert this information into the file. After creating the file, we copy it into the arsip directory and rename it to identitas_backup.txt using the cp command. Next, we move the original file from document to the code directory using the mv command. Oops, there's a small mistake here. We can repeat the correct code again.
After that, if we now run ls inside the document folder, it should be empty, while arsip contains the backup file and code contains the original one.
To check if the backup file was copied correctly, we use the cat command, which displays the contents of the file.
Managing file permission is crucial in Linux as it determines who can read, write, and execute the files. By default, files have certain permission assigned to them. We use the chmod command to modify this permission.
In this case, we set the permission of identitas_backup.txt to 640, means the owner can read and write, the group can only read, and others have no access. After modifying the permissions, we use the chown command again to change the ownership of the file to the root user and assign it to the staff group. To confirm these changes, we list the file details using ls-l. If we run lsl, the output should look like this. It means the confirmation displays that the permissions have been set correctly. It will confirm the new ownership.
Another useful feature in Linux is symbolic links, which are like shortcuts that point to another file. Instead of making multiple copies of a file, we can create a symbolic link that reflects the changes in the original files.
First, we create a reference file named referency_nim.txt and write some text inside it. The text we write is, ini adalah dokumentasi sistem operasi milik Sheila Juni Astia dengan NIM 0903 1282328074. Then, we use the lns command to create a symbolic link named shortcut_nim.txt pointing to the original file. If we list the directory using lsl, we will see that shortcut_nim.txt is marked as a symbolic link and points to referency_nim.txt. Now, let's test what happens when we modify the original file. We use echo to overwrite the contents of referency_nim.txt. Since shortcut_nim.txt is a symbolic link, running cat shortcut_nim.txt will show the updated content. This demonstrates that symbolic links do not store actual data but only reference to the original file.
The final topic we cover is the UMAS setting, which determines the default permission assigned to newly created files.
First, we check the current UMAS value using the UMAS command. From that, we know the default value is typically 0002, which means new files will be created with 644 permissions, read and write for the owner, read only for others. We change it to 27, which restricts access for other users. After updating the UMAS value, we create a new file called data_nim.txt using the touch command. If we check its permission using lsl, we will see that it now has 640 permissions due to the mask setting.
Throughout this tutorial, we have covered several fundamental Linux system administration tasks. We start with creating a structured directory system, ensuring that files are well organized for different purposes. We then explore file manipulation, learning how to create, move, and copy files efficiently. Next, we delve into managing file permission using chmod and chown, ensuring that only authorized users have the appropriate level of access to specific files. We also demonstrated the use of symbolic links, an essential technique for referencing files without duplicating their contents. By modifying a reference file, we saw how the symbolic link reflected this change, reinforcing the power of this tool in Linux environment. Another key topic we discussed was UMAS, which controlled the default permissions of newly created files. By modifying the UMAS value, we effectively adjusted access restriction at the system level, a critical skill for maintaining security and control over user data. The practical exercises we performed not only introduced essential Linux commands, but also provided insight into their real-world applications. Understanding these concept is crucial for system administrators, developers, and anyone working in a Linux-based environment. By mastering these techniques, you can manage files efficiently, enhance security, and optimize workflows within a Linux system. I encourage you to practice these commands on your own to reinforce your understanding. Experiment with the different permission settings, create symbolic links, and explore how UMass affects file access. The more hands-on experience you gain, the more proficient you will become in Linux system administration. I hope this tutorial has been helpful in improving your Linux skill and deepening your understanding of system operations. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye-bye!